All right, welcome back, business builders. It's going to be an awesome episode. I had the pleasure of being on Kent Ritter's podcast recently, and sort of very different worlds, but similar because we're just trying to get after it. We're trying to keep the balls in the air in our business, and then we're trying to sort of do the same thing in our families. And Ken, I'm going to give you a couple minutes to just introduce yourself, so kind of hook us in why we should listen. But then the real hook is that when you explained sort of this pyramid concept and the colors in terms of time management. And I thought it was just a very eloquent way to explain it all. And it really hooked me in. So that's the hook. Just keep listening or watching, depending on where you're consuming this. But Kent, give us an intro, and then we'll kind of get into your color coding, brown, light green, dark green, gold, and all of that goodness. So let's hear a little bit about you.
Sure. So my name is Kent Ritter. Grew up in the Midwest from Indianapolis, Indiana, and I currently own a real estate investment firm. And what we do is we go out and we have about just under 700 units under management right now. We're growing quickly, and we buy multifamily which are apartments, right? Normal way to say it, apartments. We buy apartments, we fix them up, we bring in private investors into those deals. And that's really what I'm doing currently in the current business I'm working on. We've been going at it since 2019. Part of that, I started my career in management consulting. So I spent 12 years flying around the country every week with new clients, helping businesses solve problems that they couldn't solve on their own. That's exactly what they hired us for. So it just gave me a great understanding of the levers that make businesses work and not work, right? And you started seeing a lot of common themes. And one of the things that we're going to talk about today, well, before I get there, so into that career, started a management consulting firm with several partners, sold that in 2015. So, I've been through the building the business, scaled it to 30 million in annual revenue, sold that at the end of 2015. That kicked off that whole real estate journey I started talking about before that, which is really my new passion and love, the ability to give people financial freedom through real estate investments that they can't get otherwise. But what we're zeroing in on today, I think really is around one of those things that was one of those common themes as I was a management consultant, and something that's really been drilled into me by one of my personal coaches and really helped solidify the concept, which is really time management, because there's only so much time, right? And we have to best leverage that time, and we have to be as productive as possible to get the most out of our businesses. But we also have to make sure that we have balance, and that, we're not so involved in our businesses, which is easy as entrepreneurs to get, that we're neglecting other parts of our lives, right? Our family, our friends, the other things that are really important out there, our health. And so I think the framework that we're going to talk to is a really easy way to first dissect your day and diagnose how much time you're spending in high value tasks versus low value tasks, and where you're spending that time. And then from there, really a framework on how to reimagine your schedule into what would your ideal week look like, right? Your ideal day, and how much time would you be spending in each of these categories? And it's a really simple way to look at it. And I think if you do it, you can have a profound impact on where you're focusing your time. And then it really lets you make strategic decisions in a couple ways, right? What should you start doing more of? What should you keep doing? What should you stop doing? And for those things that you need to stop doing, right? What can you outsource? What can you automate, right? How do you delegate those tasks? How do you automate those tasks? So I think it allows you to look at where I think most of us don't know how much dead time we just have during a day, and how much time we spend doing low value tasks when we really need to be focused on the things that are driving value in our business or building relationships with our family, friends, coworkers, whoever it is, right? Because those are the things that really matter. We spend so much time in all this other stuff. I can't tell you how many times, me personally, I've been stuck in my email, right? You come up a couple hours later and you're like, what did I do? You feel productive. You just answered a bunch of emails, but what did you actually accomplish? And did you really move the ball forward? And that's at the end of the day, what we're trying to do, right? Move the ball forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. And what's funny is that when someone is on your podcast, you as the podcast host, you don't get to tell your story to them. So I didn't even know that part, that you built a $30 million management consulting firm.
Yeah.
So And I have a background in
Yeah.
acquisitions and strategies. So I, flew around the world and acquired all these companies. And our
Yep.
job post-acquisition was to kind of chop them up and get rid of these sort of inefficiencies, which is a probably similar to what you did as a management consultant. So
Yeah.
that's really cool. That's an awesome background. So if that didn't hook you into what we're going to talk about, I don't know what would have. Given just your breadth of expertise, and I would say in some aspects, in a little over 3 years, you've acquired 700 units essentially,
Yeah.
which is just awesome. And I'm going to give an opportunity for you to share your best way to get in touch with you, whatever that looks like. If it's
For sure.
investing in your assets, or I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, we'll definitely call it out at the end here. So let's get into the framework. Just lay it out and just tell us the truth about the way you look at your time. And we all struggle, so there's no shame in any of this. If you called it, we're allowed one curse word on this podcast, and it is the word shit. So when you describe that one, you can say that word. All right, I've kind of opened the door there. So you go ahead. I'm going to let you lay it out for us.
Okay, so it's a simple framework, right? There's essentially, if you draw a pyramid on a piece of paper, right, there's 4 levels to that pyramid. And those are the different categories of kind of value of tasks, I would say, right? The first one, the bottom layer, is brown time, right? That's your shit time, right? That's the binging Netflix, right? It's watching the football game. It's just the zone out, scrolling through your phone. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? That's the stuff that creeps in that really doesn't provide a ton of value. It's really more of an escape because, we don't want to face whatever else is going on, right? And we all need some of that. We all need time to relax. It's not a bad thing. You just need to be very cognizant of how much time you're spending in that space. The next one is your light green time. So your light green time, those are all the tasks in your business that aren't driving your revenue, but are just things that have to get done, right? Bookkeeping is a great example, right? Bookkeeping has to get done, but is bookkeeping driving value in your business? Driving revenue? No, it's not, right? Paying invoices, other stuff, all that stuff goes in that light green time. The next one is dark green time. So, and there's really a split in the pyramid, right? The bottom 2, you want to get out of. The top 2, you want to spend more time in, as much time in as possible. The dark green time, that's your high value tasks. That's your highest and best use. And those are the things that drive real value in your business, and real revenue in your business, right? A really good way to think about this and the split between light green and dark green is identify what your hourly rate is. How much is an hour of your time worth? For me, it's $1,000 an hour. So let's say if I'm not making $1,000 an hour, then that's my light green time. And the light green, that's the critical area where you want to start to delegate or automate, right? Because those are things that have to be done, but it shouldn't be you doing it. The dark green are those things, building relationships, creating partnerships, getting sales done, right? All that stuff that's going to drive value in your business. You want to spend as much time there as you can. And then even above that, because our businesses are not the most important things in our lives, is the gold time. The gold time is the top of the pyramid. That's time with family, friends, exercising, meditating, yoga, studying the Bible, whatever keeps you balanced, whatever makes you healthy, whatever builds your inner circle of relationships, that's that gold time. And we need to be spending as much gold and dark green time as possible and trying to get rid of everything else.
Awesome. So let me go a little bit deeper on a couple of these concepts. So tell me how you view the concept of your hourly worth. Maybe run through that part of it. I know how I sort of teach it and how I view it, but
yeah,
my number is 1,000 too, and it's not always perfect. It's $1 million divided by 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
I don't really need to make 2 million because maybe I'll have to work more hours than I want. So
yeah,
it's the math that I use. It's like my target, and I just play a different game. All automation and delegation. So dig into more about that conversation. Like, what do you do if you're at $20 an hour and, and you want to
Yeah.
sort of get up to 100, 250, 500. So talk through that a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think some of it is practical. Some of it is based on, how much you can actually earn, right? To set and how much you've earned in your career and past experience, or how much you can earn doing a sale and what that takes to get that done. Right. But some of it is just simple mindset, right? You need to value your time higher than you're valuing it right now. Right. If you're sitting in that light green time and you feel productive because you're getting all this stuff done, but you're not driving that revenue to your business, what that means is your just priorities aren't right. Right. There's a difference between being busy and being effective. And so you've got to start thinking about things differently. And maybe your number is $100 an hour. Right. And you start to say, okay, if I can get somebody to do this for less than $100 an hour, then those are things that I'm going to look to outsource. Right. And maybe that's bookkeeping. Maybe it's mowing your lawn. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you spend a couple hours a week mowing your lawn and you could pay a neighborhood kid $20 or 30, 40, whatever to do that. And in that time, you could be generating leads, right? You could be doing market research, something that's going to drive value into your business, right? So I think it's just thinking about it that way. And whether it's 100, whether it's 1,000, it's more about picking that number and saying, okay, anything below that, that's where I'm really going to look to delegate or automate and get rid of those things and get those things off your plate is how I think about that.
Yeah. And so if you're in a business where there is sort of, quote unquote, unlimited earning potential, which is, what you do, what real estate agents do, if you can eliminate the brown and the light green, you do have the opportunity to make clear $500,000 a year working a normal work week, which is 2,000 hours. So 500,000 divided by 2,000 is $250 per hour. And then to your point, it's like there are licensed real estate agents that would show homes for you. There are administrators or runners. I'm in a big market. I can advertise on Craigslist for a courier, just someone to run errands for me all day long or part of the day for like 10, 12 bucks an hour plus gas cards.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times and even in the investor world, you're putting up ugly signs, which you shouldn't if you're acquiring like local real estate or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, there's all kinds of things that I think what this forces you to do is really dig in, take a look at how you're spending your time. And I think what's really powerful with this is actually doing a time study, right? Mm-hmm. Which I know, Lars, I think you teach and have kind of a way of doing that. The way that I've seen it done in the past is you're just logging, your 15-minute increments of your day from when you wake up to when you go to sleep. Because I think you'll be surprised. Wow, I can't believe I spent that much time doing this, whatever it was, or this took that long. I thought it would take half as long, right? But then what I think is really cool is you actually kind of code that time study with these colors. And then you start to really say like, wow, I'm spending 20% of my time in dark green and 40% of my time in light green. And man, 30% of my time was in that brown. I just watched football for like 12 hours this week, things like that. And it just brings that awareness to you so you can start to make better decisions about how you spend your time. And that's what really matters. And I mean, you should be seeking to push as much gold time as possible and have some gold time every day, right? Same thing, dark green time, as much as possible in that dark green time every day.
Yeah. And it's when you say it that way, the only way to have like a significant amount of that really meaningful gold time is to just be honest with yourself about, the brown and the light green.
That's right.
And just work, 90 days at a time or whatever your cadence is, work for a period of time to do less brown and less, light green. And the brown is typically like, they're just bad habits. So I got in a rut where I had avoided the news for like 10 years. 10 years.
A good thing.
A good thing. And then I totally went into like thinking that me watching the news is going to change the geopolitical landscape somehow. And there's this end of the world craziness that lasted for me for about a year. And I had to physically remove a TV from my bedroom just to get out of the habit, So to me, that was, and then Netflix is like every series is like $100 million production. Like it's irresponsible to not watch all of them, and you have to guard yourself because that's not going to lead you closer to a lot of gold time. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, and I think that's where you have to be clear on your goals, right? Because it's so, look, I love Netflix just like the next guy, right? And it's so easy to get sucked in. I mean, everything in their algorithms and everything they do is to get you to engage and continue to watch, right? But that's where you got to be really clear on your goals, because especially if you're taking a lot of that brown time, and now that and look, first of all, you got to be honest with yourself, because you may not like what you see when that time study's done. And you're like, oh crap, I'm spending a lot of time in that brown. And you have to make that conscious decision to turn that into gold time. Well, that's going to mean giving up. Maybe it's those TV shows that you like. So I think that's where, and that's a hard thing to do, right? That's going to take some willpower. But we only have so much willpower, right? You can only force yourself to do something for so long. And that's kind of that push, right? You're pushing yourself to do this. It's why New Year's resolutions don't work, right? Because you have only so much willpower until it gives out and you give in. This is why you gotta get really clear on your goals, because your goals, and more specifically with that goal, that why, like, why are you doing what you're doing, and getting real deep on that. And is it to make a better life for your family? Is it so that you and your wife can retire the way that you want to without having to worry about it? Is it just so you can be financially free from worry, right? Like, what's that why? Because that's what's going to pull you through in those tough times when it's like, oh, I want to watch one more show, right? And you'll say, well, no, because, me being able to retire at 45, whatever your goal is more important than me watching that one more Netflix episode, right? And those are the things that are going to pull you through in those tough times, because like life is all the balance of trading short-term gratification for long-term gratification, right? And like as humans, our brains do not work like that. We're real bad at that. Right. And so you got to be able to limit that short-term gratification to push it into the long term. That's what those long-term goals are all about. And it's like that serotonin kick you're going to get from that show, right? You got to be able to get through that. And so it's all about getting really clear on your goals and what you're really trying to accomplish. And that's how you're going to turn that brown time into that more valuable time.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I've used, there's like the carrot and the stick. So the carrot is, you at 39 thinking about, financial freedom at 45 or 50. And it's really impossible for some people to connect their eating the donut now to the fat. Like if you ate a donut and you saw the fat go onto your belly, you wouldn't eat any donuts.
And that's exactly.
But somehow we don't see the Netflix, just another episode leading to sort of coming up short in other areas of life that we say are more important. But I've also used it's a little depressing, but it's worked for me. So that's why I'll mention it. I saw my dad sort of suffer really like a 5-year death, just made some like poor choices with his health and had a major stroke, and kind of took him essentially 5 years to die. So in a very morbid kind of way, I get up at 4:45 a.m. to work out, not because I'm drawn to working out, not because I want 6-pack abs, not anything, but it's to control my health as much as possible, so I don't end up, putting that on my family, because it was a tough 5 years for all of us. So there are different ways to trick yourself to do the things that you need to do. So I would just thought I'd mention that. Little bit of a downer, but hopefully it'll serve somebody in some respects. So I want to make sure I leave a little bit of time. I love all of it. And I know I wrote it down last time when we chatted, but I'm going to totally swipe the color coding in our time study. So when people put in have like these codes, like BA is business admin, PA is personal admin. So when they put those in, it's going to turn like a crap color or like a light green color.
I like that. Use it.
Tell us how do people get into your, if they want to sort of learn more about you and kind of get into your world, for sure, give us the podcast info, and then anything else you want to cover with the audience.
Yeah. Well, let me say one thing first on this, and then I'll give you the info on how to get in touch with me, because the only other thing I wanted to say, because I mean, this sounds daunting, right? Is chunk it out. Baby steps are better than no action at all. Right. And that's one of the best lessons I learned, where like I would come out of something with like 12 goals. Right. and it's impossible, and be like, I'm going to do all this in the next 3 months. Right. And it's really impossible to. You have to really chunk it down to, I like working in 90-day cycles and trying to chunk out 2 to 3 things every 90 days. If you do that, you will accomplish so much. I mean, and it builds on each other. But I'd say, so, if you're watching 2-3 Netflix shows, right? Cut one of them out, keep one for now. And then maybe you'll realize, hey, this isn't so bad. And your goal will grow and your why will grow, and you cut another one out. But baby steps are better than nothing. So just don't be too hard on yourself in this process, because it is difficult and it doesn't feel good.
Yeah, that's really, really good. And comparing yourself to someone, even on the like X dollars per hour, like, dude, I'm at $30 an hour. Like I gotta baby step. I can't even imagine what it'd be like to, but that comes as like, so 15 years in business, I made $18 an hour my first 10 months in real estate. Mm-hmm. And so that was 15 years ago. Yeah. So 15 times 4, I work in a quarterly world as well. So that's 60 quarters that I've been making decisions on automations and delegations and working out of the brown and light green. So play the long game is basically the advice there. So how do we get into your world? Kind of give us that.
Yeah. So you guys could go to HudsonInvesting.com. That's the name of my real estate business. If you're interested in learning more about what we do, investing alongside of us, we bring our investors in right alongside us in our deals. Also, I'd say check out Ritter on Real Estate, which is my podcast. It's all about investing in real estate, how to get started, and how to learn tips from the pros.
Yeah. Awesome. And I'll tell you, so we offer just a free time study. If you go to REBS, so Real Estate B School, REBS Productivity Pack, I've got like a whole time study that you guys can grab. So, and you got to opt in and give us your email, but I just want to get that thing in the hands of as many people as possible. It's literally a 14-day time study, 15-minute increments. You code it every day. You do the math at the end of it. So you guys can grab that as well. Kent, this has been awesome, man. I think this, brown to gold it's been really cool. So I appreciate you sharing it. Definitely. So it was HudsonInvesting.com. Hudson Investing,
HUDSON investing.com.
Awesome. And definitely check out Ritter on Real Estate. I've checked out some episodes and it's really all good stuff. All right, brother. Appreciate you. We'll talk soon.
Absolutely. Thanks, Lars.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
We'll see you.